What's up everyone, welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over Google Display Ads. So I'm going to go through a lot of the different targeting methods you can use, how to build a Google Display Ads campaign, and then just a bunch of the different options that you have as you are going through and building display advertising campaigns through Google Ads. So you're going to run your campaigns directly through your Google Ads account. So you want to start by going to ads.google.com, signing into your account or creating a new one if you don't have one already. And then you're going to come to a screen that looks something like this once you set up your account. And you're also going to have to come over here to tools and settings, set up your billing if you haven't set it up already. Now, I just recently did my Google Ads tutorial for 2020. You can find it on my channel. I'll also put the link in the video description for this video. You can see we have our search campaign down here. So if you are running Google Ads, I would highly recommend getting started with search campaigns first. I generally don't see the same type of performance from display campaigns. You will see good performance from remarketing campaigns, and I'll show you how to set up remarketing campaigns using Google Analytics and using your Google Ads account. So before we get started, the first thing I want to do is show you conversion tracking. So if you're running any type of campaign on Google Ads, you should be using conversion tracking so you can actually track the key actions that are happening on your website. So in your Google Ads account, if you come up here to tools and settings, under measurement, you're going to see conversions right here. So what we want to do is we want to come into conversions under measurement. So what you can see here is I have a few different conversions uploaded, and you can import conversions directly from your Google Analytics account, but you do need to link your Google Ads and Google Analytics accounts first. So the way to do that is to come to tools and settings, and you want to open linked accounts through Google Ads. So we'll open linked accounts now. So here in linked accounts, what we're going to do is click on Google Analytics. So you're going to see there's a lot of different types of accounts that you can link directly to your Google Ads account. So you want to make sure anything that's relevant for your business, you have it linked to your Google Ads account, because it's only going to give you more and more data as you're setting up your campaigns. So we'll click on details here under linked accounts. And you'll see right here, I have my analytics property, farmhouse goals. It's linked. There's 4 goals, 7 audience lists. So these are the remarketing lists that we're going to be able to use to target people with our display advertisements. And then what we can do just to make sure our link is complete is we can come back over here to analytics, and you'll see we're in the admin screen here. So at the very bottom left, you can see we're in admin. And then under product linking, you can see Google Ads linking. So we can click here, and just to make sure both of our Google Ads and Google Analytics accounts are linked, this will allow us to set up conversion tracking and set up our remarketing audiences and publish them directly into Google Ads. So the other good thing about this is if we come back over here to Google Ads, you're going to see auto tagging is enabled. So that's going to allow us to track all of our campaigns directly into our analytics account, just to give us a little bit more data about bounce rate, pages per session, what's driving good engagement, what's driving conversions. So you'll get a lot of that data in your Google Ads account, but tracking into Google Analytics will just give you more and more data that you can use to improve your campaigns. So what we're going to do next is go over conversion tracking real quick. And if we come back over here, what we're going to do is under view, you're going to come down here and you're going to see all website data. The link we want to go to is goals. So if you create goals in Google Analytics, you can track these key actions on your website, and then you can actually import them directly into your Google Ads account. So if we come back over here to conversion actions, you're going to see that some of my conversion actions, something like here with outbound clicks. So if you see outbound clicks, this is imported directly from Google Analytics, and you can see outbound clicks, past 7-day conversions. So with Google Analytics, I can track this goal and see every single source of traffic that's driving outbound clicks on my website. And then in Google Ads, I can actually optimize my campaign for this individual conversion action. So that's why you want to set up conversion tracking, because it allows you just to see when people do visit key pages on your website or take any of the key actions that are very important for your business. So we come back over here to Google Analytics. What we want to do is click on new goal. And you can see under goal setup, there are some templates here. So revenue, place an order. So anytime someone completes an order on your website, someone creates an account, submits content. But what we're going to do to make it really simple is you can come down here to custom, click on continue, name your goal. So let's just say sample goal. And then you're going to see goal slot ID. So this is going to be my 8th goal that I've created. And what you can see is if you don't have a destination page, so I'm going to do this as a destination. Every time someone visits a specific page on my website, I want to count it as a conversion. What you can do is you can use something like duration or pages and screens per session. So you can actually track the engagement that people have on your website after clicking on an advertisement So you can say, okay, anytime someone visits my website for 2 minutes or more, 3 minutes or more, 5 minutes or more, whatever you want to set it as, I want to count that as a conversion because that means they've engaged with my website a little bit. They're reading my content. Maybe they're watching one of the videos on my website. You can also use pages and screens per session. So say anytime someone visits 3 pages or more, I want to count it as a conversion because that means they click through my advertisement, they've shopped around my website a little bit, they've viewed some of my articles, whatever it is that your website's about, people are engaging a little bit at least, so you can count that as a conversion. So then you know if someone's visiting and quickly bouncing, you don't count that as a conversion. If someone is engaging with your content, you can count it as a conversion if you don't have a key action like a destination. So with destination, what we can do is click on continue here, and we can say destination equals to, and let's just say anytime someone orders something off my website, they visit a page, order confirmation. So this is the page they're going to go to. So for this example, I'm going to be showing this from my website, farmhousegoals.com. So let's say someone purchases something from my website. The URL they're sent to is order confirmation. I can say the destination equals to this page. So anytime someone visits that page, that means they've completed an order on my website. I can set a value. Now, depending on the type of website you have, if you have a Shopify website, for example, you can actually just take the value in dynamically every time someone does purchase something from you. So make sure you do a quick Google search if you're using Shopify or BigCommerce or Volusion and you're using one of these different platforms. Just look up Google Analytics, Google Ads conversion tracking, and generally most of these different companies have guides that they've published themselves, so you can easily set up conversion tracking. So I can say destination equals to order confirmation, click on save. So this is going to create a new goal in my account. You can see right here, I have sample goal. It's a destination goal type. So now anytime someone does visit that order confirmation page, it will count as a goal in Google Analytics. So then all we have to do is come back over here to our Google Ads account. So we're in the conversion screens, click on the plus sign, and then you're going to see start tracking conversions. There's website, app, phone calls, and then we can just import. So we'll click on import here, import from Google Analytics, click on continue. And now you'll see we have our sample goal right here. So I can click here, import and continue. And now it's going to add that goal directly to my Google Ads account. So now I have my sample goal here and I can start tracking those conversions and start optimizing my campaigns for them. So that's where you want to get started when you're running any Google Ads campaign. If you've already done this process, you should just skip through this portion of the video, but I highly recommend doing this as you're setting up your campaigns so you can actually track and optimize for the key performance indicators for your business. So this is where we want to get started. Now, the next thing, if we're running Google Display Ads, I would highly recommend testing remarketing if you're getting traffic to your website. If you're not getting a lot of traffic yet, you should probably work on getting traffic first from organic search, social media, email marketing, getting some direct traffic, maybe some referral traffic from different websites that you're working with. So all of those sources of traffic are going to help you drive more and more revenue for your business. So I wouldn't recommend just putting all of your eggs in the PPC advertising basket. I think it's just an important strategy for websites that are already getting traffic, already getting some conversions. And then what you want to do is use PPC advertising to increase those conversions that you're getting. So what we want to do here is come over to Tools and Settings, and under Shared Library, what we're going to do is come here to Audience Manager. So if you haven't set up remarketing already, what you can do is come to your Google Analytics account. So we're going to come back over here, and what you can do is click on Tracking Info here and then Data Collection. So under Data Collection, you want to make sure this is on. So data collection for Google Signals means that Google Analytics will collect visitation information, and I can actually import this data directly to my Google Ads account. So once we have data collection turned on, click on Save. This will enable remarketing for our website. And you'll see down here under the Google Ads linking. So if we click on Google Ads and we click on our link group name, you're going to see some of the things they say is import goals and e-commerce transactions into Google Ads. So that's what I just went over previously. You can click on learn more here if you're still having trouble doing that. And then you can see here, create a remarketing audience in analytics. So you can click on learn more here. But the way to create remarketing audiences is we're going to come back to our admin screen, and we're going to scroll down here to audience definitions. So under audience definitions and audiences, this is where we can create our remarketing audiences and publish them to our Google Ads account. So you can see right here, type analytics Google Ads. We can actually set up our audiences directly in Google Analytics and then just publish these audiences to our Google Ads account. So if we come over here to our Google Ads account, you'll see we already have some of these different lists here that we can start targeting people with our advertisements. So we'll come back to analytics, click on new audience. So we'll have audience source here. It's going to be all website data. So anybody who visits our website, it's going to track that person and track the pages they visit. Click on next step. You're going to see audience definition. There's smart list, all users, new users, returning users, users who visited a specific section on my website, users who completed a goal conversion, and then users who completed a transaction. So you can create all sorts of different audiences based on if people have visited your website before or the specific pages they visited, or you can just come up here to all users and just say, I want to target anybody who's visited my website, and you can go up to 540 days. So if I've over almost 4,500 users over the last 7 days, then that means if I do a 540 day audience, then I'm going to create a large audience that I can continue to target with my advertisements. And hopefully my audience will be about 100,000 people over the course of 540 days, because that's how many unique people have visited my website. And then you can see here eligibility, Google Ads Display, Google Ads Remarketing List for search ads, Google Analytics, and then external partners, Salesforce, Marketing Cloud. So you can start to use these audiences in different ways to target people so they can actually see your advertisements. So this is a pretty simple example to use all users 540 days. You can see I just created this audience. So now if I have this audience going and I can get repeat customers, for example, for farmhouse decor, if someone's visited my website, if someone's purchased from me before, I can continue to target them with advertisements, especially if I'm running a limited time offer like I'm showing here. So I have March sale, use code March 2020 and save 20% on your order. So some of the best people to target are people who have visited my website already. So we're going to come back over here to analytics. We'll click on new audience and we'll come down here. You could say users who visited a specific section on my website. And you can see here, it's going to say page contains. So what we can do is just page contains, and I can say, I want to target anybody who visited this farmhouse bar stools page. So I can choose that one, and then anybody who has visited this page over the last 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, I can target them with my advertisements, especially if I have a specific promotion on bar stools or something related to that. So you can target all sorts of audiences with remarketing. I'll go into remarketing in more detail in a follow-up video, but this is how you're going to set it up. You link your Google Ads account to your Google Analytics account, and then you can easily create audiences directly in Google Analytics and just publish them to your Google Ads account. And then in Google Ads, you can use these audiences as you set up your campaigns, and I'll show you how to do that. Now, the other thing I'll go over a little bit in this video are custom audiences. So if you come to Audience Manager, one of these tabs is remarketing and one of them is custom audiences. So if we click on the plus sign here for custom audiences, you can create custom affinity or custom intent audiences. So intent is really probably what you want to use because it's people actively researching specific products and services. Affinity is going to be people who have interests aligned with your brand. So intent, for example, if I'm targeting people with messaging about golf clubs, so I have some golf club sale, it's going to target people who are actively researching golf clubs for sale. If I do it to a custom affinity audience, it's going to be people who have an interest in golf. So they're not actively looking for golf clubs. They just have an interest in golf. Maybe they watch golf. Maybe they play golf a couple of times a year, but they're not looking to replace their set of clubs, or they might be, but it's going to be a smaller percentage of people that are actually looking for your products and services. So with custom intent, you can target people who are actively researching the products and services that you have to offer. So we'll click here on custom intent, and you're going to see under audience name, you can include people based on in-market keywords. So it's going to be keywords and URLs related to products and services this audience is actively researching. So I could target keywords like golf clubs for sale. Maybe I target specific golf club websites that are selling golf clubs. So people that are searching those keywords, visiting those websites, are probably in the market for a new set of golf clubs. We could also come down here to Google search terms. So with this, you want to add at least 50 keywords. Start with the keywords from your search campaigns. So just export the keywords from your search campaigns, enter them here. So I just recently set up my Google Ads search campaign for farmhousegoals.com. So what I would want to do is just add all those search terms in here, because if people are using those search terms, then I want to target them on the display network as well. So we'll click on cancel for right now. You're going to see I have a custom intent audience. If we click on it, you're going to see the different keywords that I have targeted here: farmhouse accent chairs, country decor, accent tables, bookshelf, chairs, coffee tables, all related to farmhouse goals. So this is an audience that I can start to target with my display advertisements, and it's not going to be some massive audience. It's going to be an audience where you can see here 0 to 100K impressions weekly. So it's really not a huge audience, and I can always add more keywords here to expand this audience. I don't use custom affinity audiences too often. I don't really use affinity audiences that often for targeting because I generally don't find the best results with them. I prefer custom intent and in-market audiences, which I'll go through in a little bit. So if you want to create custom audiences here, I would highly recommend doing that just to test, just to see if you can find a custom intent audience that does help drive more leads, more sales, and more key actions on your website from your display advertising campaigns. So now if we come back over here, we're going to get started with creating our display advertising campaign in Google Ads. So we'll click on the plus sign here, click on new campaign. Since we uploaded our conversions, we have them all imported and tracking, we're going to be optimizing for leads here. So I would highly recommend optimizing for sales or leads if you're using search, display campaigns, really almost any type of campaign. You want to drive conversions. That's your ultimate goal. Now you can see there's website traffic here. You can use this. There's product and brand consideration, so campaign types, display and video, and then brand awareness and reach. These might be useful if you have a large budget, you're trying to get more and more impressions, you're trying to reach a lot of different people with your messaging. You might want to use these types of goals instead. But personally for me, I like to use leads and sales because even if I'm using leads, it doesn't mean that every click is going to turn into a lead. I'm still going to be reaching people, and I want to reach the best possible audiences for people who are going to be interested in what I have to sell. So selecting a campaign type, it's going to be display here. And then there's a couple different options you can use. Smart display campaigns. So with this, you really don't have any control over targeting. So Google is going to use all of the data they have about people that visit your website, about people that are interested in your products and services, and they're going to try to reach them with your display ads. You have standard display campaigns. So in this option, you can target remarketing audiences, you can target in-market audiences, you can target custom intent, affinity, pretty much anything you want to. You can target topics, you can choose different placements. So you have a lot more options in a standard display campaign. And then you have a Gmail campaign, and with that, you're targeting people as they browse their emails. If you have a Gmail account, you've probably seen these advertisements in your account. So we're going to get started here with a smart display campaign. I'll show you this, and I'll show you a standard display campaign. So if you really want to keep things simple, you might just want to start with a smart display campaign because then you don't have to worry as much about all the different targeting methods that you need to use. So we'll come here, enter my business website, farmhousegoals.com, and we'll click on continue. Okay, so now we're going to create our campaign. You can see it's going to say type smart, and our goal is leads. Campaign name, smart display campaign. Next is locations. So I'm just going to be targeting the United States for this. You can enter any location you want to. If you want to target a small market, if you want to target a small radius, a city, a state. So really whatever you want to target. If you want to target multiple countries, United States and Canada, any types of areas that you want to target, you could pretty much do it on Google Display Ads. So this part is probably the easiest to set up in terms of your targeting. What you can do here is enter another location and then set, if you would just want to target a specific city or a specific area, that's what you would want to target. So next, when we come down here, there's target and exclude. I choose this, people in or regularly in my targeted locations, and then exclude, I do people in my excluded locations. I don't want to target people who are showing interest in my targeted locations because it's going to expand to people that are outside of my target market. So I'm just going to use this one right here and then exclude people in my excluded locations. Next is language targeting. Select the languages that your customers speak. So for this, I'm just going to choose English. You can select your language here just by clicking here and choosing the language from the drop-down list. So we'll keep coming down. Next is going to be bidding. So bidding is an important aspect for any type of Google Ads campaign because you're bidding for clicks to your website. Now, when you see what do you want to focus on conversions, what I can say is I want to focus on conversions, set a target CPA of $5 per conversion. So ultimately, they would try to get my display campaign to drive me conversions for $5 or less. Now you're going to see pay for clicks. So you generally want to pay for clicks. You can pay for viewable impressions. I just prefer to pay for clicks. That means I'm only charged when someone actually clicks on my advertisement and goes to my website. Now the other option is to come down here, select a bid strategy directly, and you're going to see Selecting my bid strategy, target CPA, target return on ad spend, maximize conversions. I can also come down here and use a portfolio strategy and use one of my existing portfolio strategies here. Now, I don't have any portfolio strategies in my library, it's saying. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use target CPA. So we'll come back here, back to standard strategy, target CPA, we'll set it at $5. I'm paying for clicks. So that's going to be the bidding that I'm using. So for example, if a conversion on your website, let's just say, is worth $100 in value to your business, then you want your target CPA to be less than $100. So maybe you started at $75 and try to get it down slowly over time. Your target CPA should always be less than the actual value that is driven on your website. So you don't want a target CPA of $125 here, because that means every time you drive a conversion, you're actually losing $25. So for this, I'm just going to do $5, and my goal over time is going to be to get this lower and lower. So this will be my bidding strategy. Next is going to be budget. Let's just say I want to budget $20 per day. Now, the best way to look at your budget is for the month, you won't pay more than your daily budget times the average number of days in a month. You just want to multiply this by about 30, and then that means that I'm not going to spend more than $600 for the entire month. So take your monthly budget, divide it by 30, and use that as your daily budget. Dynamic ads, I'm not going to go through that in this video, but that is something I do want to go through this year, so hopefully I can create a video about that in the future. Next is additional settings, so you can set start and end dates. Conversions, so I can actually choose specific conversions. Otherwise, the account level include in conversion settings. So that means it would optimize for every single conversion that I have imported that I have to include in conversions. Or I could just choose a specific conversion action here. So if I click on select conversion actions, you can also do one conversion here, or click here to conversion action sets. So this is the main conversion I want for my website: giveaway, thank you, and outbound clicks. So now what we're going to do is click on save. Now you can see I have my conversion action set up. These would be the conversion actions that this campaign optimizes for. So show ads on all content. I can actually exclude different types of content. So if I don't want my ad showing for tragedy and conflict, sensitive social issues, so some of these sensitive content options you might not want your ads to show: below the fold, embedded videos, live streaming YouTube video, park domains, in video. So I can choose all of these different content exclusions. I will keep it on embedded videos, in video, and below the fold. Live streaming YouTube video, so I'll keep all of these actually active. I'll just get rid of the sensitive content here. I could get rid of the mature audiences, but I'm not worried about that right now. So those will be my content exclusions, and now we have our ad group. So for a smart display campaign, I generally just set up one ad group and just focus on creating the best possible advertisements that I can. So we'll just name our ad group here, and we'll just do smart display ad group. Targeting is going to be automated targeting using website visitor, landing page insights, and my search campaign's best performing keywords to automatically target customers across the web. So obviously, the more data Google has about your website, about your search campaigns, your top keywords, Google is going to be able to use that information to create better targeting audiences for the people that do see your display advertisements. So the more data they have about your website, the better your targeting will be for a smart display campaign. If you have a brand new website, they're really not going to know much about what actually performs well when people visit your website. So the more data they have, really the better your targeting will be. So now creating our advertisements, what you want to do is create a responsive display ad. So responsive display ads allow you to upload multiple images. You can upload a video, up to 5 videos. You can do up to 5 headlines, up to 5 description lines. You have a long headline here. You have a business name here. You can set your advanced URL options. I'm not going to be doing that for this video. You can test a different final URL for mobile. I'm not going to be doing that. And then if we click on more options here, you have a call to action text, and you also have custom colors here. So we'll set those for this specific advertisement. So for mine, what I'm going to be doing is sending people to my website. I have this March sale, use code March 2020, save 20% on your order. So people visit this page, they're going to see this March sale. They can scroll down and start shopping, shop farmhouse goals, another message for March sale, keep coming down, bedding, decor. So a bunch of different options that people can choose. If they visit my website and click on my advertisements, they know use this code March 2020, save 20% for the entire month of March. So I want to convey that in my display advertisement. So when you're creating your responsive display ad, the key here is your images and logos It's going to start by scanning your website. And you can see here it pulled some of these different images from my website. I'm not going to be using any of these images. These sizes really aren't the best here. So the best possible sizes is to use something like a 1200 by 620. So if we just click here on this question mark, you're going to see image landscape 1200 by 628. The minimum required is 600 by 314. Max file size 5120 kilobytes. So for square, they recommend 1200 by 1200, but the minimum required is 300 by 300. And then you're going to also upload your logo here. So with your logo, you're going to create a 4x1. So with that is 1200 by 300, and then a square 1200 by 1200. And then they have some minimum required here as well. So if you're looking for some of the different image sizes. Now stock images, I never use the stock images over here. I'll usually just upload images that I own or images that I can use for advertising. If I come here to stock images and let's just say I search farmhouse, click on enter, you're going to see some of the different images they have here, and you're going to see the sizes. So 1000 by 671, 667. So that's a good size to use for square and for horizontal advertisements or landscape advertisements. What I'm going to be doing though is coming here to upload, and I'm going to upload 5 different images. So the way responsive display ads work is you're going to see here, choose 15 images and 5 logos to use in your ad. So you can create all sorts of variations with your responsive display ads, and Google is going to take the headlines that you create, the videos that you upload, the images that you upload, and some of the different description lines, and they're going to mix and match these advertisements until they find the best possible combinations. So you don't just want to create one image, one headline, one description line, because you're limiting your testing for your advertisement. The best benefit of responsive display ads is they pretty much run everywhere. So any type of image size, they're going to responsively change to that image size. And you don't have to worry about uploading 500 total advertisements to create all these different variations. So we're going to come here and upload our files. Okay, so I've uploaded 5 different images here, and then I have my 2 different logos. So we're going to start with logo here. When we click on use as, you want to choose a logo from the drop-down list, and we're going to use this as our square logo. Now I can upload different variations. I can do one with a black background, keep it white text. So you can update your logo in different ways. You can use up to 5 logos in your advertisement. I'm just going to be using this standard logo here. Click on continue. And then I have my 4x1 logo over here. So we'll use this as 4x1, click on continue. So these will be used as my logo. And then these other ones I can use for the image, and I can use landscape and for square. So you can move these around a little bit if you want to change them a little bit, so we can do that. Click on continue. So I'm going to do this for the other images now. Okay, so we have all of these images that we're using both for landscape and for square advertisements. Then we have our 2 logos. Now we can just click on save. If you have recently used images, you can come over here to recently used and use some of these different images over here as well. You can see I uploaded some different advertisements as an example in one of my previous tutorials, but we'll just come over here to upload. We have everything set, click on save. And now we have our images all ready to go, and you'll see it's going to start creating our advertisements even before we add any of our headlines or our long headline. You'll see the way your advertisements look, and you can just click through here and kind of scroll through and see the way your ads look, different formats and different ways that it's going to show up across the web. So you can add a video here. If we click to add a video, it's just going to say search YouTube. So this could be useful for Surfside PPC. If I have a video for farmhouse goals on YouTube, I could use that here as well. If it's just going through some of the different images of products for sale and showing the March sale at the same time, you can use a YouTube URL here. If we click on recently used, you'll see I have some of my different videos. So I can click on this and use it as a video advertisement in my responsive display ad. So we'll click on cancel. It just would run as a standard display advertisement, so you're not going to actually get credit for video views or anything like that. So if we come down here to headlines, we can add up to 5 headlines. So I generally just add 5 headlines because there's really no downside besides some of the testing, but over time that will just give you better results. So we'll keep coming down. We have 5 description lines. So now you want to fill out all of this different information. Business name, this will be an easy one. Farmhouse goals, just enter your business name here. So we'll scroll up to the top with headline, and what I want to do is add these 5 different headlines. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I have my 5 different headlines here. Save 20% on farmhouse decor, March sale at farmhouse goals. So different ones that show the actual sale. Some just say a sale here, some say furniture, some say decor. So different types of wording. I could do 5 different ones that talk about a March 20% off sale or different things like that. But this is probably the best thing for me for creating some of my headlines, have some that show the actual sale, and then some that are a little bit more basic and a little bit more broad. We'll see which headlines work the best as we start to run our advertisements. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if we come to the top here, make sure you set your final URL to your landing page. So for this, my landing page is farmhousegoals.com/promo. So we can copy this here, come over to our display campaign and set our final URL. So we have our final URL set, we have our images and logos all uploaded. We're not going to be using a video for this responsive display ad. We have our headlines here. We can set our long headline. So I'll set that now along with my description lines. Okay, so I set my long headline, I set my description line, so I have 5 total descriptions, 5 total headlines, 1 long headline, and you'll see here it's going to start showing these advertisements with the text that I've added. So the ad copy is actually showing there now. And again, we can keep going through these and seeing the way that they're going to look. So using the images, using a headline, you have the logo up here, we have our description line, and then we have our little call to action button here where people can actually click through to go to our advertisement or go to our landing page. So we're going to keep scrolling down. We have our descriptions there. We have our business name. You can set any advanced URL options here, tracking templates, final URL suffix, custom parameter. We don't need to set any of that for ours. Our campaign will track directly into Google Analytics. So if you want to track it into a different analytics platform, or if you're using any custom URLs, you can set them here. Test, you can use a different final URL for mobile. I'm not going to be doing that here. Call to action text. So right now it's set as automated. What I want it to be is shop now. So we'll come down here to shop now. You have apply, book, contact us, download, learn more, install, visit site. We'll do shop now, keep this as English, and then custom colors, I'll just use a couple of brand colors here. Okay, so now the other thing is going to be show this ad on text and native ad placements. So we'll keep that checked here. And what we can do is click on add to ad group. So we have a responsive display advertisement created. Now you can create another responsive display ad if you want to. The way this is set up is it's 5 total images, all these headlines, description lines. So one advertisement is really going to be a lot of different variations. It's not like you're just creating one advertisement here. If we click on new ad here, we can upload some display ads. So let's just upload some of the display ads that I've created for this campaign. Okay, so I have some ads here. I have a 160 by 600, 300 by 50 mobile ad, 320 by 50 mobile ad, 300 by 250, 728 by 90. So there's a lot of different sizes and formats you can create. You can see them all here. I would recommend creating as many of these as possible for your display ads, but what I found, especially with a lot of my recent campaigns, is that my responsive display ad tends to show the most often. It tends to perform the best. So if you have a responsive display ad, you don't need to upload these types of display ads, but there's really no downside to creating more advertisements because again, it's just going to keep testing and optimizing your ads. So the more that you upload, really the better your campaign will perform, especially if you're uploading some of these larger sizes here. So you'll see a 970 by 250 billboard. We have a 930 by 180 top banner. There is a 300 by 600, 300 by 1050. So there's a lot of different options here. The ones that I've uploaded are just these 5 different sizes. So they might run a little bit and we'll see if they perform decent, but they're not the greatest advertisements. And if we click on it, 20% off March sale, shop now. Pretty simple. People aren't going to read a huge display advertisement, so you really just want what your promotion is, call to action. Make sure you include your logo, brand name, or something like that because it's just going to help as more and more people see your advertisements. They'll connect them to your brand, to your website, and hopefully purchase something from you eventually. So we have our landing page set here to promo. We have our display ads uploaded, so we can click on add to ad group. So now we have our responsive display ad. We've created some of these banner ads. And what we can do is click on create campaign and it's going to launch our smart display campaign. Okay, congratulations, your campaign is ready. So pretty simple. We can click on continue to campaign. And now you can see we have our smart display campaign, our smart display ad group. So for this campaign, you really don't need to create multiple ad groups. If you're uploading a lot of different advertisements, you can create multiple ad groups. But if we create a different ad group, you're going to see targeting is automated targeting. So it's really going to be the same targeting in our other ad group. And you're going to see all we're going to do that could be a little bit different is create different ads. But you're probably better off just keeping it all in one ad group here, unless you really want to do a testing for different advertisements. Or if you have multiple landing pages, you can also use a different ad group for some of those different landing pages. Otherwise, this campaign is pretty much all ready to go. We can let it run for a little bit and see how it's going to perform for us. So we'll come back over here to all campaigns, and you're going to see right now we have our smart display campaign. We have our farmhouse goals search campaign. So the last thing I want to go through in this video is some of the different display targeting options if we're not going to be running this display campaign. So what we can do is click on pause here, just pause my smart display campaign for right now. Click on the plus sign, create a new campaign. Again, we're going to be doing leads, display, and instead of a smart display campaign here, we're going to choose a standard display campaign. Select the ways you'd like to reach your goal. So we'll enter our business website, farmhousegoals.com, click on continue. Okay, so now we're going to be creating a standard display campaign with the goal of leads. So I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker. So with locations, we'll do United States. Again, people in or regularly in my targeted locations. So we'll keep coming down, set your language targeting, bidding. So I'm just going to do the same bidding that I did previously. We want to focus on conversions. So you can also do select a bid strategy directly. I can use manual CPC here and help increase conversions with enhanced CPC. So that might be what I want to do for this specific option, because then I can set my own bids, keep my bids really low, because generally what I find with display campaigns, you're going to get the best results by setting really low bids and driving as many clicks as possible, because you're just not going to see these 5, 6, 7% conversion rates when you're using a Google Display Ads campaign, at least not in my own experience. So I'm going to use manual CPC and will help increase conversions with enhanced CPC. So I'm paying for clicks, but it's really going to be a focus on conversions because of enhanced CPC and my conversion tracking that I have set up. So next will be budget. So let's just set the budget the same that we did previously at $20 per day. Delivery method, you can choose standard or accelerated. I just always keep this as standard under delivery method. Additional settings. Okay, so ad rotation, optimize, prefer the best performing ads. We can do not optimize, rotate ads indefinitely. So if you're trying to test for a little bit, you can do not optimize and choose this. I like to just choose optimize. There's also optimize for conversions, not supported, rotate evenly, not supported. So for right now, just optimize, prefer the best performing ads. So ad schedule all day. You can set an ad schedule if you only want them to run, let's say Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, something like that. You can set when your ads actually run. Start and end date. So if you do want to set an end date, if you do want to schedule this campaign for the future. So for example, if I'm running an April sale, I can create my campaign today and just have it start on April 1st and on April 30th. Devices, I'm going to have it show on all devices. You can set specific targeting for devices for a standard display campaign. Frequency capping. So they're going to have here, let Google Ads optimize how often my ads show, recommended. I can also set a limit. So limit impressions for the whole campaign to the same user to, let's just say, 5 impressions per day. So that just means that someone's not going to see my advertisements over and over and over throughout the day, 10, 15, 20 times. Although the way Google Ads is set up is if someone's not clicking on your advertisement every day for 10, 20 ad impressions, eventually they're not going to see your ads as much. I like to set a limit here just because it gives me a little bit more control over who sees my ads, and I make sure that I'm not targeting the same person over and over. Campaign URL options, dynamic ads, conversions, content exclusions. So conversions, what we'll do here is I'll do the same thing I did previously, choose conversion actions for this campaign, select conversion actions. Again, come over here to conversion action sets. Kind of hard to see. The text here isn't really the greatest. But if we click on conversion action sets, I'm going to use my 2020 conversion, click on save. So now we can keep scrolling down. Content exclusions, I can do the same thing I did previously. So for this, I'll just get rid of sensitive content. We'll leave the other content types wide open, digital content labels wide open. Okay, so now we have our ad group 1. So I'm not going to name this ad group for the time being. I'm just going to go over a lot of the different targeting you have here. Now, if we keep scrolling down, there's going to be demographics here. There's going to be content targeting. We have targeting expansion. And then here's where we set our enhanced CPC bid for this ad group. So what I recommend doing is setting bids really low as you get started. So let's just say I set 15-cent bids as I get started. I can always increase this to make sure that I'm spending my $20 daily budget. You can always increase bids later, and I highly recommend getting started with a lower bid. And then you're also going to see over here my estimated performance. So they're going to give me a little bit of a forecast over here. So how many clicks, average cost per click, impressions based on my daily budget of $20 and a bid of 15 cents. And then you're going to see click-through rate over here as well. So hopefully I can drive as many clicks as possible for $20. That's ultimately my goal. So hopefully some of those clicks do turn into conversions. Now again, coming down here to display ads, I'm not going to go through display ads exactly like I did previously. It's going to be the same exact process. You upload your images. I can actually just copy my advertisement for my other campaign and paste it for this campaign. I can upload the same display ads. So for right now, what I'm going to do is just go over targeting and kind of what I kind of recommend as I'm creating my targeted audiences. So we have our ad group here. We start with audiences. So to collapse some of these things, you can target audiences, you can target demographics, and then you can also set your content targeting here as well. So narrow my reach with keywords, topics, or placements. So what I recommend doing is getting started here in audiences and coming over to browse. So if we click on browse, you're going to see 4 different options here: detailed demographics, affinity and custom affinity, in-market, life events, and custom intent, and then remarketing and similar audiences. If your main focus is driving leads and sales, which it probably is, then you really want to start at the bottom here with remarketing and similar audiences. So how they've interacted with my business, what I would do is recommend coming down here to these website visitors and targeting website visitors. So if I say all users over the last 540 days, it's going to target just this one audience, and I would just set this one audience here. I wouldn't narrow it by demographics. I wouldn't narrow it by content. You can set targeting expansion here. I would just turn this off for remarketing. You're going to see here my available impressions is 0 because I just created this audience yesterday, so it's still populating. It will increase over time, but this is how I would set it up. I would just target this ad group with this one audience here, and then I would set my advertisements at the bottom and launch my campaign down here at the bottom. So if I'm targeting audiences, I usually try to keep it as focused as possible, especially if I'm using remarketing. I don't really narrow down demographics or anything else. You can, I mean, it's really a matter of preference. If you only want to target, let's just say we come here to demographics, I only want to target male within 25 to 64. Let's just say for this specific messaging, that's what I want to do. You can do that for your targeting. So we'll come back over here. This is how you would set up remarketing campaigns. So you would just come here to browse, you go to your website visitors, any of the audiences that you've created, you can add to your ad group and target them with your display advertising campaign. That's going to give you the best performance. So coming in here to browse, starting at the bottom, this will give you the best performance in terms of leads and sales, targeting remarketing audiences, and then you can also target some of these similar audiences here as well. These are audiences that are automatically created by Google Ads based on your website visitor audiences. So similar, you're going to see similar to all users. They're going to create an audience that's going to be as similar as possible to the people that are visiting my website. So this is really where you would want to start trying to drive leads and sales. The next thing I would recommend testing is in-market and custom intent. Now, if you're creating display advertising campaigns, what you probably want to do is create a completely separate remarketing campaign. And then what I would do is create another display campaign that's targeting these in-market, life events, custom intent audiences. I truthfully don't really target detailed demographics very often or affinity and custom affinity. They're useful for really large budget clients that say, hey, I want to spend $5,000 a month, $5,000 a year, whatever it is on display advertising campaigns, because I believe that people who see our display ads, interact with our display ads, are eventually going to become customers over time. So if you have a very large business and you're trying to kind of do more brand awareness and get people more and more interested in your brand over time, let's just say, for example, Pepsi is my client and Pepsi's saying, okay, we're releasing a new flavor. This is where display advertising can really come in handy because they're willing to probably spend thousands of dollars to get some of that messaging out there. Same thing if you look at Doritos, if they're releasing a new flavor, something like that. Or if you have a large restaurant across the entire country that has a specific offer they want to promote, this is where display advertising could come in handy, especially to affinity and custom affinity audiences. So if we click here and we come to affinity audiences, let's use food and dining as our example. We click here, coffee shop regulars. So this just means someone who visits a coffee shop frequently. So if I'm selling coffee and my main goal is leads and sales, it's probably not going to be the best way to drive people to my website and get them to actually purchase my coffee. However, if I'm Dunkin' Donuts and I'm trying to put out some type of promotion to a large audience that has an interest in coffee, then this is what I would do. Same thing with fast food cravers down here. So if Taco Bell is releasing some new type of product, they want to get that messaging out there, this is who they would target, fast food cravers. You're going to see impressions over here. So it's showing I would be targeting fast food cravers here. So we'll click on done. I'm just targeting fast food cravers, 10 billion plus impressions. Now, as we're targeting audiences here, if I come back over here to who they are, detailed demographics, let's say parental status, I want to target parents of toddlers 1 to 3 years. Let's just say, for example, What this is going to do is it's going to make my advertisements target both parents of toddlers 1 to 3 years and fast food cravers. This does not mean that people need to be in both of these categories. It will target both of these categories separately. So if the fast food cravers audience are not parents of toddlers 1 to 3 years, it's still going to target them. So keep that in mind as you are setting up your audiences. If you want to narrow down your audiences to specific demographics, then you would do that here. So your targeted demographics, I would say, okay, I only want to target, let's say, female parents of toddlers 1 to 3 years. Then that would limit this. So it's going to target fast food cravers who are female, and then parents of toddlers 1 to 3 years who are female. So it would narrow it down a little bit. You'll see my impressions went down to 2.3 billion. It was at 10 billion plus. So this is how you can target audiences and kind of narrow down by demographics a little bit. So we'll click on the X's here. We're still in browse, and you can see there's detailed demographics, parental status, marital status, education, home ownership status, very broad categories, affinity audiences, what their interests and habits are. So essentially you're looking at really broad interest groups. This is really where I would recommend spending more of your time. So custom intent audiences, so you can create your own custom intent audiences here. If you have some data, if Google has some data about your website, they might have some auto-created audiences here. So previously used, farmhouse decor. New audiences, so there's some different audiences here. What I could do is just come here and say, I just want to target this farmhouse decor custom intent audience that's auto-created by Google Ads. My impressions is 530,000. So you can see it's not going to be a massive 10 billion plus audience. So it is going to be narrowed down a little bit. And you'll see with my daily budget of $20, bid of 15 cents, my forecast goes down a little bit, but it's because my targeting improved. So if I click on done here, I can target people who have an interest in farmhouse decor. I still set this to demographics, just female. Maybe what I want to do is female male. And then what we can do is say, I only want to target people who are 35 and up. So we'll say 35 to 65 plus. And then we can say household income, let's just say top 40%. So that means anyone in this top 40% here. So my impressions went down to 410,000, but my demographics are a little bit better here. So I'm targeting this farmhouse decor auto-created custom intent audience. Here are some of the demographics I have. And then coming down to content targeting, I could target keywords, topics, and placements. Truthfully, I never really use keywords. So if you click on keywords, you can enter a bunch of keywords here. And what it's going to do is choose terms related to your products or services to target relevant websites. So if I start adding some of these keywords over here, what Google is going to do is try to find websites that are relevant to these keywords. What I have found over the years is it's much more broad than you realize. So if I type in these keywords, my ads might show up on any types of home decor, home design type websites, even all sorts of websites that really have nothing to do with home decor. So I don't generally use keywords that often. I think it just ends up being a little bit too broad if I'm narrowing down by content. I think the better option here is to use topics or placements. So we'll get rid of these keywords here. We'll click on done. So we're not targeting any keywords. So if I click on content targeting topics, you'll see some of these different topics here: arts and entertainment, autos and vehicles. So for this, what I would do for farmhouse decor is come here to home and garden. I can expand this a bit, click on bed and bath. I can do home and interior decor, home furnishings, home improvement. So I can target some of these different topics, and it's going to narrow down the overall topics that my ads would show up for. So we can click on done here. So now we have our topic setting. We have our demographics. We have our audiences. Our impressions are 610,000. So now we can start to create our advertisements, and this could be one targeting group that I use for this campaign. Now, what you can do in your campaign is create this type of targeting group, and let's just say I created this one ad group. I can create a separate ad group, and let's just say I come over here to targeted audiences. Rather than using this custom intent audience, what I can do is I can find an in-market audience, and what you can also do over here is search. So I know I'm going through a lot in this, but really what you need to do is play around with this a little bit to learn more about audiences. But when you are targeting audiences, you can come here to search, and I can just search something like farmhouse, click on enter, and you're going to see some different custom intent audiences. If I keep scrolling down, it's going to show a bunch of different custom intent auto-created audiences. But now we get down here to in-market. You're going to see interior design and decorating services, kitchen and dining room, and I can also just do in-market audiences for home decor. So I can do home decor in-market audience. You can see my impressions are over here at 200 million. So still getting a lot of impressions. Come down, I'm targeting some topics. So instead of targeting topics, we'll come here, remove these topics, clear all, click on done. So targeted topics 0. So our impressions goes up now to 680 million impressions. So let's narrow it down by placements. So placements allow you to target specific websites, YouTube channels, YouTube videos, apps, and app categories. Or you can just choose specific websites if that's what you want. What I would recommend doing is, again, searching a word up here that's relevant to your business. So for this, I'll use farmhouse, click on enter. So this pulls in 286 websites, over 1,000 YouTube channels, over 1,000 YouTube videos. So we can click on websites here, and I can just start adding some of these websites. I would recommend going to these websites just to make sure they are relevant to what you're advertising. But what I can do is we'll just click on all these different websites here, and we'll just assume they're all relevant for this specific campaign. You can see pretty much all these website domains look good, but I don't know anything about what these websites look like. So as I keep adding these different placements here, what this is saying is I want to find people who are in this home decor in-market audience who are female or male, 35 and up, household income I have set to the top 40% right now, and I just want to target these specific placements. So my total impressions here is 2 million. So you can see it's increased a little bit since the last update as I've added more and more of these placements here, but it's not a ton of impressions. And you're going to see with this daily budget of $20, bid of 15 cents, I might not get as much as I would if I kept this wide open. But I know that my ads are going to be targeted to a much better placements here and to a good audience. So I can click on done. I have 20 targeted placements. If you're targeting placements, I usually select about 50 to 100 as I get started with a campaign. Depends on the type of placements I'm targeting. If I come here to YouTube channels, you'll see there's a bunch of different YouTube channels here. So maybe I'll do Farmhouse on Boone. I'll do a Farmhouse Full, Farmhouse Living, keep coming down. And we'll choose a couple more here. Okay, so we have some of these different farmhouse channels. So we'll come back to YouTube videos. So we can select here. We'll do some of these different YouTube videos. So anyone who's targeting or watching these farmhouse decor YouTube videos, probably going to have an interest in my farmhousegoals.com website. And if we look over here at impressions, so it's still at 2 million, so it hasn't increased too much. We could also look at apps. I usually don't target apps with placements too often. It's very rare that I find really good apps in terms of my Google Display advertisements. So this is another thing we can do. So now we have our targeted placements here. We can choose targeting expansion. So let's do this. So this would be added reach. It's going to say not enough data to estimate performance. So it won't be able to estimate our performance. But if you use targeting expansion, essentially Google Ads is going to be looking for high performing audiences similar to my target. So it just allows you to reach more and more people based on the data that they already have, based on who you're targeting, the types of placements you're targeting. So targeting expansion can just help you reach more people, and it's useful if you're not able to spend your daily budget, but you don't want to make your audiences too broad. Now, what I'll say is, as much as Google Display Ads seems like it's the perfect way to target people who are interested in home decor, farmhouse decor, whatever it is your business sells, and you can use demographics, you can use content, you might have the perfect targeting here. But what I always find with Google Display Ads is they generally do not perform as well as you kind of expect them to. So you're going to be able to drive a lot of clicks back to your website, but if you're using Google Display Ads to try to drive a ton of new conversions, a ton of new customers, it generally is a lot more difficult than you realize, because just think about your own browsing habits. How often do you click on a random advertisement on a website and go through and convert? It's probably pretty rare, and it probably happens more likely with remarketing ads. So if you visit a website, they start to remarket you with some of their remarketing campaigns, you're going to be more likely to take advantage of some of their offers if you're familiar with their products and services already. So I would recommend using remarketing if you're really focused on driving leads and sales. That would be where I'd spend most of my display advertising budget. But if you have an additional budget and you want to target some of these audiences and reach some people who may not be familiar with your brand yet, you want to get people into the funnel, you want to get more and more people interested in what you have to offer, you get people to your website and then you remarket to them. It might help drive more customers over time, but it's not the best way to drive brand new customers. I would recommend spending more money on your search advertising campaigns. But once you set your audiences, you set some demographics, you can target different types of content where you want your ads to show. We'll narrow down who sees your advertisements, and then come down here, create your advertisements like I showed you previously, and see if you can drive people to your website, take advantage of some of your sales, some of your promotions. So these are Google Display advertising campaigns. This is the first tutorial I'm going to create about Google Display Ads. It's really my complete tutorial, everything you need to know as you set up your advertisements and as you set up your targeting groups. So if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching my video today, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel.